to live and to love the gospel of the Lord.
Heart to Heart, a Catholic media ministry, presents an inspiring gospel reflection by Father Michael Sparrow. Father Michael is a Jesuit priest working as a writer and retreat master at the Bellarmine Jesuit Retreat House outside Chicago.
The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. Jesus said to his disciples, "Peace I leave you, my peace I give to you. Not as the world gives, do I give it to you. Do not let your hearts be troubled or afraid. You have heard me tell you I am going away, and I will come back to you. If you loved me, you would rejoice that I am going to the Father, for the Father is greater than I. And now I have told you this before it happens, so that when it happens, you may believe. I will no longer speak much with you, for the ruler of this world is coming. He has no power over me, but the world must know that I love the Father, and that I do just as the Father has commanded me." The Gospel of the Lord. Today's Gospel is part of the Last Supper discourse of Jesus to his disciples, chapter 14. Chapter 14 begins by Jesus saying to his disciples, "Do not let your hearts be troubled or afraid." And now, in the conclusion of chapter 14, Jesus bequeaths to us his gift, peace. In Hebrew, the word is shalom. Shalom is actually difficult to translate in English because there's no single English word that captures the essence of what shalom communicates. Shalom is peace, but it's a deep interior well-being. It's a harmony. It's a cessation of agitation. It's an inner tranquility. And Jesus distinguishes that the peace that he gives is different than the peace of the world. When we think in common parlance of peace, we usually think of a cessation of hostility. When the stock market is high, when I'm in perfect health, when the pandemic has ended, when the kids have graduated from college, when we get a great medical report, when everything is just as it should be, then we can experience peace. That's not what Jesus is talking about. In fact, to underline that point, in the Easter season, we've been working our way through the Acts of the Apostles, and it's one story after another of the apostles being rejected, being beaten, being imprisoned, being harassed, being left for dead. And in the midst of that, rejoicing in the Lord. In fact, in our first reading today, we hear Paul and Barnabas saying that it's necessary for us to undergo many persecutions to enter in to the joy of the kingdom, to the peace of the kingdom of Christ. I sometimes think of it as drilling down, going through the different layers of anxiety and worry that affect us all till we get to that place where we experience the peace of Christ. Notice that Jesus says his peace is his gift to us. In other words, we don't earn that peace. It's Jesus' gift to us. But we need to bore down, to abide in the presence of Christ, to be able to receive that peace, to experience the fruit of that peace. That means spending time with God's Word, That means taking advantage of the sacraments. That means cleansing our souls through the sacrament of reconciliation. It means practicing the works of charity. It means living our faith daily as ways of boring down till we get to that place where we experience the peace that Jesus wants us to have. In my office here at Bellarmine, I have two pictures of Christ. One is a picture of Jesus as the Good Shepherd, and the quote there is from Paul's letter to the Romans in chapter 8 of nothing can separate us from the love of Christ in Christ Jesus, from the love of God in Christ Jesus. And the other is a picture of Jesus with this quote from John chapter 14, verse 27, "Peace is my gift to you." So when the retreatants sit and they're looking at me right across, right beside me, is this picture of Jesus saying, "My peace is my gift to you." That's my hope in every meeting with the retreatants or the directees, is that they will experience the peace of Jesus, and that I, in turn, will be an instrument of that peace, that I will be able to help them experience that peace of Christ. Jesus goes on and he said, "I will not speak with you much longer because the prince of this world is at hand. I'm going to the Father. If you loved me, you would rejoice that I'm going to the Father." Jesus speaks these words shortly before he would go out and experience the agony in the Garden of Gethsemane and then be arrested, tortured, and killed. So these are among the last words that Jesus speaks to his disciples. But recall that on the night of the resurrection, when Jesus appears to his disciples, the first words that he speaks to them are, "Peace be with you." Among the last words that he speaks is, "Peace I give you." The first word that he speaks is, "Peace be with you." Jesus wants us to abide in that peace, the peace that surpasses all understanding. We're pilgrims in this life, and we're going to experience much hardship. And perhaps the most painful hardship that we can experience is the loss and the death of loved ones. On the night before he dies, Jesus says, "I want you to experience this peace." Since last Thanksgiving, I've lost many, many loved ones, cherished friends, family members of friends. I've lost track of exactly how many, but my best count is, I think, 14 funerals, which for me, as a Jesuit priest, is an extraordinary number of funerals. The day after tomorrow, I'll be when this homily is aired, I'll actually be in New York City celebrating the funeral liturgy for my best friend from high school who died not so long ago. My hope for his family and for all who gather is that we'll be able to experience the peace of Jesus, the peace that surpasses the grief, the peace that is grounded in our knowledge that our loved ones have gone home from God, that we come from God and we journey back to God, and we're pilgrims on this earth. We're pilgrims to learn what it means to love, to learn what it means that in the midst of all of the worries and the anxieties and the hatred and all of the struggles in the midst of this life, that we are to follow the light of life, and that we are to pass that light and that life on to one another. In the world, peace is a zero-sum game. My peace, if I experience peace, I'm taking it away from you. If you experience peace, you're taking it away from me. But that isn't the way that the peace of Christ works. When we pass on the peace of Christ one to another, it brings light and life to the whole world. The image that the church uses on Holy Saturday night is to bless the Easter candle. And during the entire Easter season, we light this Easter candle during the celebration of the Eucharist and during the funeral liturgies. And on Holy Saturday night, we take a taper and we light it from the light of Christ, or we light it from someone who has lit their candle from the Easter candle. In other words, we as Christians are called to bring that light into the world and to pass that light on one to another. And when we do that, we experience the peace of Jesus. We bore down past the anxiety, and we touch that place where, abiding with Jesus, we know the truth of his gift. Amen? Amen.
Heart to heart, hand in hand, praying for grace to understand. Spirit of Jesus, open our hearts to live and to love the gospel